Hey, welcome everybody. This is David Bush, and I'm alongside Jeff Bush, owner and founder of growmyprofit.com. And today we're talking about building a sales team to drive revenue and to scale profits. Jeff, you've had a lot of experience in the last 30 years in building sales teams to drive revenue and to grow profitability in organizations that you've leveraged. Talk a little bit more about that process of when you made the switch to move from being me to we, and you started building out that sales team.
Yeah, I would say when I was like 19 years old and I took my first sales job, and there was like two salespeople in the building, and we were doing $1 million a year in sales. I'm doing 500, the other girl's doing 500, $1 million company. Next thing I know, the owner hires 10 people, starts them all the same day. And a year later, we're doing 5 million in sales. I'm like, holy crap, is it that easy? All he did is hire salespeople, and a couple of them quit, and he had to go hire a couple more. But I think at like 19 or 20 years old, I looked at this whole theory, whatever multiplier business growth strategy, hired 10 salespeople, put them in a room, and literally watched it happen. And because they hired salespeople who wanted to get to the top, me and the other salesperson were like first and second place. Everybody's trying to take us down, and some of them did. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing, just competition and salespeople. And they had a decent product. On a scale of 1 to 10, it was probably a 7. It wasn't a 9 or a 10. It wasn't crap, but our product was good. People were reordering, which is important that clients come back, right? But I think that was the first time I saw it. So I learned pretty early on, wow, if you just grow your sales team. My friend ran a Honda dealership in Corona, California. He goes, Jeff, I had 10 salespeople. They're all selling 10 cars a month. We're selling 100 cars a month. All I did is go out and hire another 10 salespeople, and we sold 180 cars a month with the same amount of leads, the same amount of cars on the lot. How come more salespeople sell more? I can't quite understand it. It's a phenomenon. More salespeople just automatically sell more. So I think the power of a sales team, man, I learned early on. And I didn't really love running sales teams. I was pretty good at it. I like salespeople, their personalities, they're results oriented, they're competitive, they played sports, and I love the camaraderie of like people that are like going for it, working hard. So that part was fun. But you get a lot of losers along the way too, right? That don't work hard, that complain, and they end up getting fired or they quit. And that's kind of sad because churn is part of a sales team. Not everyone's cut out for sales. So, anyways, David, I think I've hired over 1,000 salespeople in my lifetime, and I probably fired 900 of them, and the 100 that I had made me a multi-millionaire in all these businesses. So the power of a sales team, I think it's probably one of the most important things of growing a business, if it's a business that has a product that needs to be sold. I mean, Tesla, I guess they don't have a sales team, Amazon, I mean, they have salespeople, but if you build the technology and the website and it sells itself because of free shipping, I mean, it's a little, not every business needs salespeople, but all the businesses I had were built on sales teams. So, that was a big secret of my success, is just adding people. You add revenue. If the product's right and the margins are right, you add a lot of profit. You sell the company for a big multiple, right? It was just such an important part of all 4 of my businesses that I started from scratch and built them pretty big.
Yeah, and you mentioned in previous videos that the way to build a sales team is, first of all, set aside some additional profit to begin to hire the first salesperson and to grow that sales team, and to never hire just one, to have enough profit set aside that you can invest into 2 salespeople, because then they can become competitive and they can end up giving you more feedback to refine your sales processes. But just kind of walk us through that process. You have a DISC assessment that you use as a process of interviewing and then bringing on the 2 salespeople or other larger amounts if people want to grow faster. What would that process look like for you?
Well, just like anything, you have to create a funnel. So you got to write the ads and get a lot of resumes, right? So when I ran an ad, I would run on, Monster, Indeed, I'd email, I put it on Craigslist. I mean, I'm probably dating myself. There's a lot of, the ladders. I mean, there was like hundreds. I would literally go spend $5,000 posting the ad in like 50 different places. So that way I had 100 resumes. I don't ever want to run one ad and get 10 resumes and feel like I need to pick 2 out of 10. So I'd get 100 resumes, then I'd put them through my little disc profile. I really liked hiring high DIs. They could be DI, they could be ID, they could be D or I, but they've got to have one of the two, preferably both. That was a secret to my hiring. And I'm going to do a video just on disc profile. An S personality that's really steady will not cold call and hunt and build rapport and close and ask for the money. They're just too nice of people. A lot of my best friends are high S personalities. I'd never hire them for sales, but hang out with them. Great people, super fun, nice, like too nice, you know? And then the C personality, which is kind of analytical engineer, always studying the roots instead of picking the fruit. They don't work out in sales. So I look for high DIs, high IDs in sales in the disc. That was like a secret where the high DIs would sell 4 times more than the SCs. Every SC I ever hired in sales, I fired him. Every single one. Not one of them made it. Not one. So very crucial to the disc profiles are crucial to my success as far as hiring salespeople that were making outbound calls. My products were hard to sell. A lot of competition, a lot of outbound dialing. So these things I'm saying fit my businesses, maybe not every business in America, but so yeah, run the ads, get a lot of resumes, run the disc profile, and then my interviews. Not like I had a real special interview, but I did find like 20 questions that I would ask that would open up conversations. And it was I was taught years ago, Jeff, there's one thing you have to find out in the sales interview if the salesperson has clock speed. If they don't have clock speed, you cannot teach that and you're wasting a hire. So clock speed would be like, oh, David, I don't really like that, Honda Accord in black. And then the clock speed might come back and say, hey, white's a lot cooler in the summer. Like instantly they have that response time. So a lot of my interview questions were just seeing if they had clock speed, if they could answer a question quickly, overcome an objection, if they were smart enough to have a comeback. If they just sat there dumb, founded, quiet, it's like, this isn't going to work. I need salespeople with clock speed. So most of my interviews were about that, pulling, because everyone's a salesperson in an interview. I mean, everybody's telling me how great they are, how hard they work, how much experience they have, how driven they are. So it's so hard to tell in an interview. So I would look at my disc and I would look at clock speed, and that was my hire. In fact, I would, at this point in time, I would not even need to interview them. As long as they shared my values and they weren't criminals, they weren't liars, they didn't have felonies and, 5 drunk drivings, they didn't have a car to get to work. Those types of things I would find out in the interview, but I would depend more on the disc profile and the clock speed if I can get that out of them and just give them a shot. Give them a shot. That would be better than me doing interviews for 30 years. It's not like I have a secret of how to pick the best salespeople, but I would just pick people that I felt like were driven and that I could coach and get along with, they weren't too far out of the, planet,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I found that people that are coachable, people that are optimistic, people that are ambitious, hardworking, people that are caring, they care about values, they care about people, they care about clients and customers. And then the last one is hungry. And if they're hungry for more success, I can work with them. Well, in our last minute, if we were to give individuals just a stepping stone process to growing sales and growing revenues, we've already given them the idea of writing the ad, promoting the ad, doing the assessment on people that respond to the ad, and talk a little bit about the idea of the hiring process. You talked about, in a previous video, the idea of paying a base plus commission. Is that the best strategy for bringing on a salesperson these days?
I mean, I've looked at sales comp plans for 30 years and tried everything, right? Draw against commission, big salary, small salary. I mean, I'm really big on very small base salary and very big commissions. And if they want $100,000 guarantee, I'm not hiring them. Every single person I paid a big draw to never worked out. I don't know, why, but it's just, if they're a draw monster, you give them enough money, they can live on it. They're not going to work hard. So I'm real big on small base salary. I hired 1,000 people at minimum wage, and everybody told me I couldn't do it. I did it. I hired 1,000 of them, minimum wage, plus big commissions. But I always had a guy or a gal sitting in the building that I could point to, go, hey, see that guy? He's making a $25,000 a year base salary, just like you, minimum wage, but he made $800,000 in commission last year, 300,000. I always had someone to point to say, you can make a lot of money here. You know, I went from selling customers all day long to selling my salespeople on why they needed to come to work for me, stay working, work hard. I learned real quick, it's not about selling customers anymore. It's about selling my sales team the dream of making a lot of money. And I had a lot of salespeople make 500,000, $1 million. I had one guy made $3.2 million W2 working for me. So I would sell the dream of they're going to make more money than they ever made before. And if I got them to that point, I had a lot of loyalty. Once I got a guy going from 100 grand a year to 200, and I taught him how to do it and helped him do it, he wasn't going to leave. Very rarely did I lose salespeople that I groomed up. So that was another secret of growing a big sales team and always having someone making a ton of money that I could brag about, and other people could chase him or her, you know?
Yeah. If you'd like to get more of Jeff's playbook on how to build a dynamic sales team of peak performers, visit our website, growmyprofit.com, fill out the complimentary business assessment, and set up a free consultation to learn more about the Grow My Profit consultation strategies and toolbox that you can access. Thanks, everybody.